Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and this one's actually another renovation. Recently I did the Agave Abode renovation, and right around the same time that I did that one, I did this one, and I believe this is called Springscape. I'm trying to read the top left corner of my screen right now, and it's just super tiny, but it is a lot in Oasis Springs, and it is something that just comes with base game. And I just felt like it needed a little bit of a facelift, and just like my other renos I've done recently, I tried to keep the actual like exterior walls the same, kind of like a shell challenge, just to give myself, something interesting to think about when doing this. And it took me, I feel like, a little while to actually come up with the floor plan. And I'm not going to lie, it has been so long since I did this. I honestly don't remember what it looks like. So this is going to be really fun for me while doing this voiceover here with you. It'd be like a surprise, just like it is for you. But I do remember really liking the way it came out. And I believe we ended up, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe it ends up being a 3-bedroom home. I think it's like 2 kid bedrooms and then the parents' bedroom. And I believe there was like a cutesy room and then like a sports room. I'm trying to remember. I think that's correct. I do remember that I really liked the way the main living space came out, and I think I did some interesting things with like walling off the dining room and everything. So we'll actually see what happens. I do end up actually putting in a fireplace as well, because I wanted to, like I said, keep the exterior walls the same, and I just felt like that little bump out that was already part of the build reminded me of just a chimney, so I kind of kept it that way, and that's where I end up actually putting the fireplace. And I don't know why, because I know they do this all the time, but I chose this flooring, and that's kind of, I believe, what decided how I'm going to decorate this whole entire build. I either choose a rug or a piece of furniture or something, and that's what I end up going with. So I'm sure you're used to it by now if you've seen a lot of my videos that I end up just picking something, and then that ends up inspiring the whole build. And I feel like that floor is just so bold, and I don't really use it very often, that I think I was really excited to be able to use it. And so that, like I said, just kind of determined what this place was going to look like. And I honestly really didn't like the roof. And I had to change it because I just felt like that main piece was so big that it looked just a little bit odd. So I believe I did actually change it and kind of instead do some like offset like slanted roofs, and then like added a few windows in the like roof bump out kind of area. And I remember trying to actually like place in some of these fireplace pieces so it kind of looked like a more cohesive like chimney, if that makes sense. Since it was so large, I ended up just sizing down and using a bunch of smaller chimneys in there just to give it that kind of look. And like I said, I ended up like messing around with the roof, I believe, a lot, because I just remember it bugging me like like what it actually looked like, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. And I believe the exterior, I can't remember if I do the interior and then the exterior. Honestly, I can't remember. I want to say that I do the interior first and then I do the exterior. And I'm pretty sure this took me a couple days over on my Twitch channel. So if you want to come hang out with us while I'm building or play gameplay, usually it's mostly The Sims, but sometimes I do stuff like House Flipper and like other simulation and design games. So definitely check out the link below in the description and come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun over there. And I stream 3 days a week, Tuesday through Thursday. So anyways, definitely come check us out. And I'm trying to remember actually what I did here on the exterior. I think I do end up splitting it up, but then, okay, it looks like I'm having an issue putting in some of the roof lines. So I'm curious to see what I actually ended up doing. And I'm not kidding, I haven't even taken screenshots of this build. So I really don't remember what I actually ended up doing, but I do remember there being a really cool looking dining space, and then that space to the right there ends up being kind of the cozy living room, and then that bump out ends up being the fireplace, and I ended up putting some chairs near it, like a cute little seating area when you walk in the door. And I did want this to be like a really nice family home. And I believe we actually ended up putting like a pool in the backyard and all of that kind of good stuff. And I'm not going to lie, I believe I remember this being a little bit difficult because of the flooring. It just like, because it's so intense, like trying to find colors and wallpapers that don't clash with it, I think was a bit difficult, and I have a feeling I cut a lot of that out. Well, I guess I didn't technically cut it out, but I like paused my recording while I was streaming. I do that sometimes when I feel like I'm taking too long to make a decision. I'll actually pause the recording and then start it again once I've actually made a decision. And let's see, yeah, I spent a lot of time, I think, on rugs as well. Like I said, trying to just kind of fit this together and make this space work was a bit of a challenge because of the way it was shaped, and deciding to put that kitchen over there in the corner. And I also remember that I really wanted to use that Desert Luxe like giant like doorway door thing, the one that looks like it's kind of already opened, and I remember really wanting to use that. And I do remember having this little wall there. I end up, I think, putting like maybe a mirror or just some like clutter there, kind of like a foyer area. And I believe, like I said, I think we end up with like 3 kids in this house, because I went back and forth a lot. And I think, if I remember correctly, Chad actually decided what I should do, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know, like, how many kids should we have? Like, what are their personalities? That kind of thing, to determine how I actually decorate this space. And I do remember going back and forth about that orange table as well. And I remember really liking the way this shelf came out. I think it was when I found that painting, I was like, oh, this matches somehow. Like, I feel like it does and doesn't at the same time, but I really liked it. And I think I have a hard time using that painting, to be honest, because the colors are just so deep and striking that I feel like a lot of times they don't match super well, but I think in this space it does actually match really well. I guess maybe I took it out. Well, that makes me sad. I'm hoping I bring it back, because I do remember liking it and going back and forth about it. Maybe I decided that wasn't it. And I wanted to use like a divider here. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like this took me a little while when I was doing this, because you can see I had to like delete walls to like put them in, because they wanted to like snap to the wall. And then I figured out they weren't even, or they were sticking out, or like they were just having a few issues. But I think they ended up looking really pretty here and giving that kind of separation between the living space and the kitchen, while still kind of having that more open feeling, because I feel like I do a lot of open floor plans, and I guess it's just what I'm used to and just what I like. But I think sometimes it's nice to have some of that separation. I feel like maybe I need to try to actually do some more floor plans that are more closed off, like more traditional homes, at least where I live, are like that. And I feel like maybe I need to do that a little bit. I do try to have like maybe a little bit of like a hallway leading to like the bedrooms, and I like having maybe a foyer, but maybe having something that's a little more closed off. That might actually be really cool. And on that note, if you have any suggestions or things that you want to see on the channel, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'd really appreciate it. I'll put it in my notebook. I literally have an idea notebook that I write stuff down in. So if I'm not sure what I want to build, I'll like open that up and decide what I want to do based on, stuff I had written down. And sometimes I feel like I come to stream and I'm like, I don't know what I want to build. And then like I just end up doing something. And I think that's what ended up happening when I started these renos. I had the intention of really doing a lot of renovations, but I ended up doing 2. I did this one, and then I did the agave abode that I did like, I don't know, I posted maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I don't know why like this one is taking me longer to post. I just feel like I think I forgot about it for a little while, because it had been a little while, and I was like, oh wait, didn't I do another renovation? I should probably work on that. But anyways, this is obviously, I guess, after we got those nice clutter packs. So I really like that. I figured there'd be a nice family entryway. Like there would be a lot of stuff here. You know what I mean? Like if you have multiple kids, like there's a lot of people in this house, there would be just a lot of things. I believe I ended up putting like some books and some like backpacks and stuff like that here by the front door, because I figured that would make a lot of sense. And I did actually, I guess, end up shoving this into the wall. So it gets rid of that back panel, but you can still see the hooks, like they were hung up individually. So you shouldn't have any problem, like you don't really use this object anyways, but it shouldn't be sticking out through the back of it or anything like that. So you should be good to go. And didn't we just get also like a new backpack with the recent like infant, was it the infant update or the growing together expansion, one or the other? So I am excited about that, because I feel like I do use those backpacks all the time as like a way to symbolize, having a kid here and just having stuff everywhere. Like I could imagine like the parents being like, okay, make sure your stuff's by the door and ready to go in the morning, because I imagine it's very chaotic. I don't have kids of my own, but I feel like, just based off my own memory of being a child, I mean, that was a while ago, but still, I feel like, you know, having your stuff in one place actually is really helpful. And so you can see here, this is like this little step up platform I ended up doing with this, I was going to call it a chimney. I keep doing that, the fireplace. And I end up actually putting, I believe, some sconces on this fireplace because I don't know why, I just thought that would be a really cool idea. So I had to basically, I forgot exactly how I ended up doing it because I had to kind of convince the game to let me do it, if that makes sense. I think I ended up actually, I think I ended up deleting that wall behind the fireplace so that it would actually like sit there, or I drew a wall so that the lights could actually adhere to a wall and then delete it out so that it would stay and kind of look like they were attached to this fireplace. And I was excited to actually use this fireplace because I don't usually get the chance to, because I feel like it's just so big that it doesn't really fit in a lot of my builds. And I say, you know, like I think in my last speed build was talking about how my builds are always too big, and then I say I don't have room for that fireplace. So I feel like I just contradicted myself, but that's okay. I really do like this, and I feel like I really like having the mirror over it. Like it's just a really nicely done piece, I feel like. So yeah, adding these sconces in. So yeah, I ended up having to delete that wall out and then put it back and like repaint the walls, but I think it's worth it because I think that looks really nice. I haven't actually done that before, so I thought that looked really cute. And I was trying to add a bunch of stuff here by the fireplace as well, and you can see there I put the plants on top, so just so you know why I did that, because that way like things won't slot to the top, because things want to, for this particular item, go on top of it. So if you put something there, like you can more easily place items on the mantle instead of having them like pop up to the top of the fireplace. So in case you're wondering why I did that or how I got things not to do that, that's what you should do to actually get that to work. And then over here is the living space. I remember struggling with this a little bit, trying to actually figure out how I wanted to lay this out because it was so open and we really only had that one like empty wall. Like how did I want to, you know, do this, especially since there's supposed to be, I think, like 5 Sims in here. Like that's a lot of Sims to have, like, to be able to sit around and spend time together. Oh, I brought back that painting. Good. I'm glad. I was like, I swear I could have used it in this build. Watch me delete it again. I really just have no clue what I ended up doing. I briefly remember this space. I deleted it again. No, maybe it'll come back or maybe it won't. I think I think I used it because I remember really wanting to use it, if that makes sense. And I think I also remember that while I was actually streaming and recording, I think I forgot to put clutter on that end table in the living room, but I did it after the fact, so don't worry, I did put clutter there. I know, I'm sure you were so worried that I didn't clutter one of my surfaces because I do that so often, but I really love doing that. It just, to me, makes it feel so much more realistic. I feel like maybe a challenge for me would be to do a build without doing very much clutter at all. Like, I feel like that may be something I need to try. And I think my neighbor just started doing yard work, so I'm really hoping you can't actually hear that next door. But I hear like a lawnmower or a weed whacker or something out there, so anyways, I'm hoping you can't hear that. Anyways, so I ended up putting a small little office space in here because I try to include a computer in all of my builds because I know that they're pretty important in gameplay in terms of like whether you're trying to do work, if you're trying to study, if like you're trying to order stuff, like that's a good way to do it, is to actually use a computer. So I was trying to make sure I had that. And of course, I think this may be like not too long after we got that clutter kit. So I probably was trying to use like every single piece I possibly could because I mean, I can't help myself. But I did bring this tile into, I believe this ends up being a half bath. I believe, because I figured also having this many Sims, you'd probably want several toilets. In my experience, they usually always want to go to the bathroom at the same time, and then you don't have enough toilets. So anyways, I tried to include enough in here, and I do try to make them very accessible and easy to get to, because your Sims just take forever to get places. And so anyways, I do end up, I believe, for the kids' rooms having like a Jack and Jill bathroom, I think was the idea that we put in place. And then the parents also have an ensuite, and actually their bathroom is really large. And oh, I think I was able to actually use this big tub. I'm really hoping I actually kept it because I always want to use those corner tubs, but they're so big that it's difficult to use them. if that makes sense. Like I usually end up then not, because I just don't have room. So I guess it looks like maybe this bathtub, like this, oh my god, this bathroom only has a bathtub. Oh my goodness, my words today. I don't know what's going on with me today. And I still think it's funny that I'm talking about this build like I really just don't know what I did. So it's just kind of a surprise, but it's kind of funny to me that like I just don't remember, so it's a little bit of a surprise. But I do remember, I think, doing a lot of clutter. Oh, so we do have the bathroom clutter kit at this point too. I feel like I'm losing all track of time honestly, with the kits we've gotten recently and the update and the expansion pack. I feel like I just like have like lost track of when we got what. Like, how long has it been since we got that clutter pack? I don't remember. It feels like it's been a long time, but I don't know. Maybe not. Anyways, I don't know. Has that happened to you before? Like, you just kind of can't remember when we got stuff, because we've gotten a lot of stuff recently. Although I will always want more stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I will forever and always still want more clutter. And I can't even remember what bed I end up using in this space, but I did want to bring in like that orange color that we used in the rest of the home. I guess I feel like whoever owns the home, so probably the parents in this owner suite, would have the same kind of like decor preferences that they used in the rest of the house, whereas like the kids' rooms definitely look very different. And I believe we ended up having, I think, 2 girls in one of the bedrooms, and we made it like super pink and I think blue, and like we went all in on all the colorful stuff, and I remember really enjoying that room. So I'm hoping that is actually the case, because I am really looking forward to that. And I actually really enjoy the way this came out. I think these colors actually work really well together. And I feel like that bed is hard to use. I think there's something about that yellow swatch, because I don't know if I've actually ever used that bed before. Like, to be honest, like, I feel like I usually try to use it, but then there's something about the yellow and the headboard that I'm like, I don't know, maybe not. And I do remember doing a lot of stuff with the curtains here, because I just couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I feel like that was kind of the theme, to be honest, with this build. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just did a lot of things. So I have a feeling I paused my recording a lot while I was streaming, because I just couldn't decide. And I guess I do end up using those wall lamps again. Those are the ones that were on the fireplace, and they're clipping a little bit into those wooden panels, but I think that looks good anyways, so I did leave them. Of course, this is already up on the Sims 4 gallery. If you would like to download it, please be sure to do so and do whatever you want with it, and let me know on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, or in the comments, if you do decide to use this build. I would love to know like what kind of family you have living here, or if it is a family at all. You could just have like a single sim in here, that kind of thing. But I'd love to hear how you actually utilize my builds. But anyways, I guess I do try to use a bunch of plants as well in here. And oh, I do remember this bathroom. So this is going to be a shared bathroom between the 2 kids' rooms, and I remember having a really hard time with it. So I'm curious to see how much footage I actually kept, because I wanted to use the tile that we used in other places. Like, I don't know, I really have an aversion to leaving like wooden floors in bathrooms, because I don't know, all I can think of is like if the wooden floor gets wet, like that's just awful. But obviously, there are like tiles and things that look like wood, like in real life, that you can put so you don't like damage wooden floors. But then like, I don't know, it's just really hard for me to get over. So I really wanted to use tile in here, but I had a hard time, like whether I wanted to match the kids' personalities or whether I wanted to match the house. Did I want to use that tile? Because like I said, the tile that I use in the other bathrooms and in the kitchen is a very like intense tile swatch, and so I struggled a lot with it. I think I end up abandoning this bathroom and doing the kids' bedrooms and then finishing the bathroom, because I really struggled so much. You can see I tried so many different wallpapers, floorings, all that kind of stuff. Like, I knew how I wanted to physically set up the bathroom, but I just like, I don't know, I didn't know how I wanted to decorate it, if that makes sense. So I think I do end up like changing some of the stuff up once I actually end up doing the bedrooms, and I do end up using these bunk beds here. And I love when I have like multiple kids in a bedroom and I'm using beds. I like using the same bed, but using different like comforter swatches so that it looks like, you know, each kid has their own personality, but that the room is still cohesive, if that makes sense. So I really appreciate when they give us, you know, swatches that are like that. So those are similar in color, so they make sense together, but like they're different. But I do end up putting those 2 different wardrobes in here, and I make this cute little seating area for them. And I can't remember if I was thinking that these would be kids or teens. I feel like you probably use this room for either. And I can't remember for the other kids room, I think maybe we end up doing, oh, maybe these are teens and then that one was a kid. I can't remember. Anyways, I just remember I think chat told me what to do and I was like, okay, that sounds good. Because I just wasn't sure, to be honest. But including a bunch of the clutter, a lot of stuff from the high school years pack because I love it so much. I still do. I still highly recommend that pack if you are a builder. I love it so much. And it was actually really funny. I've not done much gameplay with it. And so for those of you who have been to my Twitch channel or like have seen the other videos on my channel, I was actually posting the Big Sister Challenge on my YouTube channel. And I was playing that over on Twitch, and I think it's so funny. I just had the little sister age up. Like, they literally just age up. So the little sister was in high school. I kid you not, like 2 or 3 days into like her being 18, it was like, do you want to graduate high school early? So I like didn't even like get to go to high school with the little sister. Like, that just didn't happen. Like, she immediately graduated early, and so now she's already like in university, and I was like, I didn't even get to do it. So I thought that was kind of funny because I haven't really played, so I haven't really encountered that mechanism of them being able to graduate early, but I just thought that was funny. I was just like, I was so excited because, so for those of you that don't know, the Big Sister Challenge is basically that the older sister has to take care of the younger sister, and the older sister at that time is a teen, and then the younger sister is a kid, and something happens to the parents, they run away, or, you know, you can kind of decide how you want to play that portion, but anyways, the older sibling takes care of the younger sibling, and I was playing a version where the older sibling, it isn't in school, they actually drop out to take care of their younger sibling. So I was so excited to be able to actually go and do the high school stuff with the younger sibling. And then she immediately graduates. So I just thought it was really funny, like thinking about the high school year pack. I just still haven't really done much with it at all because like she just graduated, and I do mostly building, to be honest, and because that's just what I really enjoy. And I remember that we wanted the brother to be really into sports, so we had thought about using one of the like university beds that has like the logo of one of the schools on it and like a mascot kind of thing, but then I think we ended up actually changing it, and since we wanted them to be a kid, like making it a little more childlike, and so taking that out, if that makes sense. So I guess we did decide to do a kids room here, and I can't remember, like, yeah, we went back and forth a lot about whether or not we wanted this to be a toddler or a kid. So clearly we decided to go with a kid. So really just using all of the sports stuff we could find, like making this little collage here on the wall. And I really appreciate like that one poster that's slightly crooked so they, you know, don't look so perfect, if that makes sense. But I believe like with the tool mod you can twist them and stuff, but I just haven't actually done that before. And you can see I'm basically just dumping all of the clutter and all of the items I think I might want to use here, like just so that I have them while I'm decorating, so that I know they exist. And so including here a toy box, and I think I just include like a bunch of toys and stuff over on those shelves in the corner, and then I end up having that like bucket of toys over in the other corner, and just trying to like put a bunch of stuff in here. Like I wanted this to be kind of like a messy room, and for it just to really look like it's been lived in. And I love honestly using those cloud lights all the time in kids' rooms. I know I do that all the time, but it's such a cute light. Like I can't help it. It's so adorable. Like, are there items that you have that you just can't help but use, like when you're building in The Sims? If you build in The Sims, that is. But I just feel like there are some that I just tend to use all of the time, whether it's beds or lamps or decor, you know, stuff like that. But anyways, I wanted to include this like, I believe that's from Parenthood, that little like flower vase thing there. So it kind of looks like the kid maybe made it at school and then brought it home. And you can see here, so I opted to go in the direction of making this like a kid-centric room, so that like the stuff, it was really focused on them. It doesn't so much match the rest of the house. It's just more focused on being like a cute kids room. And I believe this tile is actually from Snowy Escape, and I love using it in kids bathrooms because it has such cute swatches. And I know that they have a like mountain swatch as well. I feel like I should use that too, but I use the ones with like the little cats and stuff all of the time because they're just so adorable, and I feel like that'd be so cute to have in a kid's bathroom. And then just trying to use the mirror that has little decals on it. And since we have teens in here, like I end up using the little cup that has the retainer in it, like stuff like that, just trying to make it like really cluttered for the kids. And then out here, so I ended up using these paving stones. If you've ever wondered where those are from, those are actually, I believe those are base game and they are in debug. So if you want to locate those and use those, and I just find them to be so pretty, and you can kind of make a really nice kind of organic path. So that you don't necessarily have to use tile, but you don't also have to use terrain paint, because I find terrain paint sometimes gets deleted, and then that's a nightmare. Because then all of a sudden you've lost all your paths. I don't know if other people have those issues, but it really is so random when it just decides it doesn't want to work, or it's just like, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm just gonna, delete myself. Like, anyways. So just creating these little patches for our palm trees, because thinking that it was an Oasis Springs, I tried to like kind of bring some of that in here. So like slightly deserty, tropically kind of like cacti thing happening here. And so just creating these little patches of vegetation here. And in case you're wondering, basically the process for doing this landscaping for me is really just taking terrain paint and drawing where I want these pieces of like vegetation, and then starting with some big pieces, placing them in each one, and then filling in the smaller pieces as I go, and then ending with some low-lying plants as well, which gives it a really nice full look. And that's what I really like to do when I'm doing like yards, whether it's cacti or just a bunch of flowers. That's usually just my like way of doing that. And I also like putting a little bit of like dirt around the edges of the sand. I think it gives it a little more dimension, if that makes sense. I've also been thinking about doing a like build tutorial series. So let me know if that's something you're interested in, or if there are things that like you want to know how to do or you want to know more about, because I would love to actually cater those to what you actually want to know. But that's going to take me a little while probably to prep and plan out exactly what I want to go over, because I feel like I want to do like a little series where it really is truly for beginners. Like I'm thinking like, if you open the game for the first time and you've never played Sims before, what do you do? Do you know what I mean? I feel like it can be very overwhelming, and it's been so long since I first ever played a Sims game that like it's hard to remember like what that's like. And I think maybe I'll actually get my husband to like sit down and actually try to build, to give me an idea of what that's like, because he's never really played. Like, I mean, he knows I play, but he's never really done it himself. So maybe to get him to tell me like what are things that are confusing so that I can make a better tutorial. So anyways, that was very long-winded. So let me know if you have any suggestions, if you want to see that kind of content. I would love to hear from you. Again, the whole point is to be helpful. So if you have things that you want to know, and also I did make some shorts as well that actually go over some building tips too. So be sure to check those out. But for some reason, the YouTube algorithm's giving me a really hard time. So some of them are just like, I feel like you're not being notified when they go up. So anyways, be sure to check those out if you want some like quick tips on building and things that I do and mods that I use as well. If you've ever wondered about some of the mods or what those mods do, my shorts would be a good place to look for those. And then I like adding a little bit of dirt around the building and fences. I just feel like it gives it a little more of a realistic look, like there'll be some dirt disturbance around those things and they won't necessarily be like perfect. And so including, I figured a pool here would make a whole lot of sense, since it is really sunny and probably really hot, that the family would probably enjoy having a pool here. And then just adding a little bit of vegetation here in the back as well, because I feel like that would be so nice to actually be able to hang out in that pool and then have this really nice landscaping surrounding it. I don't really want to think about how much time it would take to upkeep all of this. And I feel like I say that pretty often, but it's true. It is something I think about, but then I'm like, it's The Sims and we don't have to worry about it. I mean, I remember back, what was it, Sims 1 or something, when we actually had to clean the pools. Like, your pools would get dirty, you actually had to make your bed. Like, there were little bits like that that were a little more realistic to me, if that makes sense. But we don't have that in The Sims 4 currently. And so I've also been thinking about trying to build in The Sims 3. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if I do, I'd probably do that over on Twitch. So again, be sure to follow me over there if you want to come hang out with us. And just adding in a bunch of Desert Luxe kit stuff here because I felt like it just made a whole lot of sense in this area to place that out here, and just creating a nice little inviting like area for these Sims to hang out again, since there's so many of them, since there'd be about 5 of them here. And honestly, you could probably fit another kid into the brother's room. You could probably have another bunk bed in there. So you could have a full house here, and then add in some pets and you've got an 8 Sim home. Like, and so that, you know, should be really helpful for gameplay. So a lot of room for people. I feel like I still make big builds but only have room for like 1 or 2 people, but this one really has a lot of room in it. So I'm excited to be able to share that with you. And again, that's on the Sims 4 gallery if you want to download it. And be sure to leave a comment and subscribe if you're enjoying the video, and I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye everybody.
Did you pack the flashlight, the blanket, and the map? It's a real adventure, the trail you're looking at. I'm glad you came. For a while I thought you might be bailing. Is that the same yellow shirt you used to wear? But 1,000 years seem like almost no time now. This guitar right here, do you still remember how I played for you? I was crappy, but you sang along, and I thought you knew I could die to keep you near. We've got a bar in the tent, it's 5:30 a.m. Let's be the kids who left, get in trouble again. That stuff's got nothing on you, that one's brand new. Still it's got nothing on you tonight. I don't need to go over old and useless words. What you said, what I said, that might have made it worse. We're here again at the same spot where we kissed the first time. I swear my pain's far away